Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome to my review of the Lenovo Y Gaming Mechanical Keyboard. That's simply what it's called, the Y Gaming Keyboard. In my previous sponsor product reviews, I've only done videos for small startups, but Lenovo is as far from a startup as you're going to get. Lenovo is very well regarded for having economically priced laptops while still delivering a premium performance package. They've also come out with a line of gaming desktops recently, and to complement their line of gaming desktops, they've come out with gaming peripherals of their own original design. This video is going to focus on the Y Gaming Keyboard. I can't believe it's just simply called the Y. Suppose it's to go along with the logo. But my next video will be covering the Lenovo Gaming Mouse. To preempt any concerns about conflict of interest, I received no monetary compensation for this review, so all of the opinions given in this video will be as though I paid for the product out of pocket. Without further ado, let's take a look around the box. After removing the keyboard from the package, the first thing you notice is its very odd trapezoidal polygonal shape. And I'm not sure what they were trying to go for with this shape for the keyboard's frame. Maybe it's to complement or accent their logo. I don't know, maybe some Starbucks baristas, art majors can chime in on what the advantages of this frame shape are, but it just leaves so much empty space in the plastic fantastic frame. And plastic fantastic is not a term of endearment, nor will it ever be. But look at the problems you have with trying to make the keys fit the shape of the frame. Like, I have to come off of the WASD to go to the dedicated macro keys on the left, and look at the dedicated media and Windows function keys over on the top. Like, look how much distance you have to traverse with your fingers to reach all of the keys. Like, what were they thinking? You can kind of tell the direction of this review based on how frustrated I am just 2 minutes in. And I apologize for how my hands look. When you work at a hospital, you sanitize your hands before and after entering patients' rooms. And when you do that 20 times a day, you douse your hands with a gallon of hand sanitizer. It's kind of inevitable that you're going to have cracked skin. So sorry for that little departure, but I'm pretty sure it's a lot more interesting than the rest of what I have to say about the keyboard. But I do like the texturing on the spacebar. And looking around the rest of the keyboard, we do have a USB cable that's braided but non-detachable. And, oh, come on, guys. It's not even routable through the back. It doesn't have channels through the back. I know the MSRP of the keyboard, but there are, I'm going to talk about it later, but there are keyboards half the price that have the option to route the cable through the back with, you obviously really don't care about efficiency of space, but, come on. And this branches off into a bunch of different connectors. They are gold plated, which is a plus. This connector that has the actual keyboard thing, this actually turns on the keyboard. And this USB 2 is, you plug this into any USB port to enable USB pass-through for any USB device you want to plug in there. And that's also true for the mic and headphone 3.5 millimeter connectors. And they also very kindly include this, which you can plug into your headphones to use as pass-through. They also include a detachable palm rest, and I actually really like the texturing on the detachable palm rest. So I do like that the palm rest is detachable and not like fixed, because some gamers don't like using the palm rest, and I'm in that camp. So you have the option of using the palm rest or not. I will attach that when I'm actually plugging in the computer for use. You do have adjustable height, And you do have very nice anti-slip feet that covers the corners and the midpoint of the two tops. So that's pretty much it for a surface overview. Let's plug this in, take a look at some of the keys, and go into some of the additional features. Alright, I do have the palm/wrist rest attached to the keyboard now, and all the drivers are installed, and we are ready to rock. I actually like typing on this keyboard using the wrist rest, which is usually a feature that I can't stand, especially if the wrist rest is permanently affixed. So it's good that Lenovo gives you the option of using the wrist rest or not using it if that's what you prefer. But I really like the angle of approach that having the wrist rest gives my fingers to reach the keys. And typing on this keyboard is actually a really pleasant experience for me. But moving on to additional keyboard features, I have not mentioned explicitly in this video. You might have seen it on the box, but the key switches themselves are Kala mechanical red, and these are a 1-to-1 spec for spec copy of the Cherry MX mechanical switches, which, brief refresher, Cherry's patent on mechanical key switches expired, so many manufacturers are moving towards using copies instead of the authentic Cherry switches to save on manufacturing costs and pass the savings on to the consumers in some keyboards. But for this keyboard, well, we'll talk about that when we go over MSRP over the end of the video. But the Cherry MX switches are supposed to be the lightest in terms of pressure needed to actuate the keys. I don't really have a way to quantifiably measure the force needed to actuate each key, but for me, it definitely feels like it's somewhere in between the Cherry MX Black and the Cherry MX Red. I do have, hold on a sec, I do have the Gamdius Hermes Light mechanical gaming keyboard, and this is Cherry MX Red, and these keys are super light. Like when I was typing with this for my review, I made a spelling error once every paragraph due to how easy it was to inadvertently actuate a key without meaning to. So these keys, like, just touching the Lenovo keyboard, depressing the keys on the Lenovo keyboard subjectively feels like it requires a lot more force than what's on the Cherry, not the Cherry, but the copy of the Cherry MX switches from the Gamdius Hermes Light keyboard. They call these switches Gamdius certified key switches as a copy of the Cherry MX Red, so they're not the same company that does the copies, the Kala copies for the mechanical key switches. So maybe there is a little bit of difference in materials used for manufacturing, but I thought specifications are supposed to be standardized, and how do you mess up copying a specification when the patent expired? So I don't really have any more to say on that topic. But they are not as heavy as Cherry MX Blacks, which I have on a CM Storm 10 keyless keyboard. But the typing experience, regardless, is still very comfortable to me. I don't make a lot of typing mistakes. I really like having the wrist rest and having a really nice high approach for my fingers actuating the keys. The brightness controls, you can control independently the WASD and the arrow keys by what I just showed you with this. There are 5 brightness settings. Let me shut off the entire keyboard. There you go. So the brightest and completely off. Next we have full keyboard illumination, and then gradually decreasing. But on all settings, you're going to have some bleed through in between the keys. Some will like this look, some will not. So, even on the dimmest, like if I didn't have the lamp behind the keyboard, then you would definitely be able to see some bleed through. The Lenovo Y logo pulsates, and I don't think there is a way to control either the rate of pulsation or shut off the light entirely. I may be wrong. Is it like pressing both of them at the same time? No, I don't think there is a way to independently change the pulsating pattern. I should have mentioned one way that the key switches, the copies of the Cherry MX key switches differ from the authentic Cherry MX switches is that they do not have gold-plated connectors. So only time will tell regarding the long-term durability of copies of the Kala switches or copies of the Cherry MX switches made by Kala. But this is the Rosewell RGB80, and you can see it's my primary gaming keyboard that I use for my YouTube editing and regular gaming. And this uses the Kala copy of the Cherry MX Browns, and this has been my primary keyboard for greater than a year, used extremely extensively, put through the ringer, so to say. And I'm very happy with the long-term performance of the Cherry MX Brown copies made by Kala. So I don't think there really is much long-term concern for the durability or the performance of the copies of the key switches. I'm really still surprised that there really is this much difference in specification between different manufacturers for copies of the Cherry mechanical key switches. So for most typists and gamers, there's not going to be much difference in paying the premium for Cherry mechanical switches. There really is still reason to get that super premium feel of having the Cherry QC, because of course Cherry QC is going to be a lot stricter than made in China style QC. But for most people, the cost savings should offset the need for Cherry MX switches, authentic Cherry MX switches. Moving on, the macros are set on here, and over at the top you can see you can change the different profiles. You do have to download a software to enable on-the-fly macro recording. So I'm going to do the picture-in-picture right now to show you guys. Alt F12 to enable Shadowplay. Haha, Shadowplay is on. In CS, I should go back to the menu and make a game with bots to show you how the macros are set up. But you do have to download the software from the GAMDS website, which is so like 2012. How many actual products coming out still require drivers to be downloaded? All of the recent keyboards I've reviewed can have on-the-fly macro recording. This can have on-the-fly macro recording, but you do have to download the software first. So to record macro, you hit the MR button, and then once that's glowing, you hit which key you want to map a macro to. The MR will start blinking, and then you just start recording B1, 3, to buy a firearm in Counter-Strike, and you hit that again, and your macro is set. So let us go into CS and let's play with bots. All right, so in game with bots right now, if I want to buy the CZ Auto, there you go. Just one-click macro, super easy to put your. That didn't happen. Just ignore that. But super easy to map your purchase commands, or if there's something you're trying to do in an MMO, then you can go ahead and map those accordingly. Oh yeah. So you have 6 different macro commands that can be associated with each profile, and you have 3 profiles giving you a total of 18 quickly accessible macros. Quickly accessible? Ha, dream on. These are extremely uncomfortable to try and reach without, coming back to take your fingers off of the WASD keys. If you are a touch typist, going back there, good luck. So I'm not sure what they were going for. Sure, the aesthetic benefits might be part of the decision to have the keys go off to the side instead of over here, but this keyboard is just so cluttery on my desk. Look at it compared to a 10 keyless keyboard. Look at the space savings you get from a 10 keyless keyboard. and going to this monstrosity. Like, I get it if it was super chock full of commands and buttons, like an entire pad up here, like on the Corsair, I think K95. So yeah, I mean, why don't you have a whole thing of things over here instead of you just have this one little sliver that is really difficult to reach? Like, I don't know what you're going for there. So you do have some regular media controls up top that are illuminatable, and this meaning you disable the Windows key in gaming. And as I mentioned, on the left I do have both USBs plugged in, so the pass-through worked. I checked it on my phone, it's recording right now, and the pass-through for the headsets work as well. So here we go. Yeah, the pass-through for head and mic work as well. I don't use the boom mic, but if you do use the boom mic, you can use the provided splitter to use something like an Astro A40 to plug it in here. And this is actually really convenient feature if you have a giant computer case that you would rather not have to move stuff around it and like unplug and replug things into your giant case, because I have to physically get off from my desk to do it, and it's so much physical effort, expenditure. The more energy you expend to do menial tasks, the less calories you utilize for gains. So yeah, thank you for promoting my lazy behavior with allowing these ports over on the side, Lenovo. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much it for a features overview. It's not super robust, so I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the conclusions now. So we're at the video conclusion where I discuss relative value. The positive features of this keyboard are the inputs on the side for headset and USB, and how comfortable it is to type on the keyboard with the removable wrist rest. The texturing is super comfortable. The texture keyboard is comfortable. But what about all of the not so positive features about the keyboard? There's so much wasted space in the keyboard's frame. These are all but inaccessible when doing fast-paced gaming. And the specs on the pressure needed to actuate each key is super questionable and requires a driver even for on-the-fly mapping. The frame, it's just super plasticky fantastic. The braided cable can't even be routed through the back. There's just so many features that aren't on this keyboard that are on keyboards half its price. What is the MSRP of this keyboard? About $130, but available for purchase for $119 on Amazon. $119 for a plastic framed keyboard that doesn't have a super robust feature set, that has questionable specs on the key switch pressure actuation when it's trying to be a copy of the Cherry MX Red, where it's more of a in between a red and a black. Come on guys, what have you gotten right with this keyboard? The Gamdius Hermes Lite mechanical gaming keyboard, literally half the price of the Lenovo Y gaming keyboard. What does this have? Very efficient utilization of space. It doesn't have the set of macro keys. It doesn't have the top dedicated media keys, but you can use the FN function to enable the media keys. It doesn't have the USB pass-through, but on the other hand, it does have Cherry key switches that are more in line with the proper specification. Cherry key switches, no. It has Kala key switches that are more in line with the proper specifications for Cherry MX Red, so the actuation pressure actually seems spot on. And gosh, what was the price of this again? This is literally half the price of the... And on the back, look, you can route the cable in different ways. I'm talking about this like it's a huge feature. It's not a huge feature, but it's just something that you can find on entry-level keyboards, where this $120 keyboard doesn't even bother to attempt, even with all of this wasted space, because obviously space saving isn't a concern for them. And like, the keyboard doesn't even come with a keycap holder. Again, that's not a huge deal breaker, but it's like, just attention to making sure your customer gets a super complete package. You can find these amenities and these features in keyboards half the price. Like, I don't want to sound like I'm shilling for Gamdius with their Hermes, but Gamdius is a small startup, and their product, half the price, destroys the Lenovo product in so many ways. Whereas Lenovo is a company that's been around for a while. They have a lot of very well-regarded laptops, and they definitely have the resources to make a quality gaming peripheral if they really dedicate their time to it. But like, how can you drop the ball on so many things that should be, standardized features for keyboards at like, this asking price? You can get full frame metal keyboards that have RGB lighting, like the UTech Smart Mercury that I reviewed previously. I don't have it here because I like it so much. It's my 8 to 5, 40-hour a week office day job keyboard. And like, UTech Smart is just a Chinese-based startup, and they can put out a product that's better than freaking Lenovo. Like, what are these guys thinking with a plastic keyboard that's $120? Gosh, do I give it my Go certification? No, I give it my no-go certification. What grade do I give it? Just off the top of my head, D+. Yeah, seriously, D+. What is another product that I've graded that has been rated that low? The NetDuma. The NetDuma is another product that I've reviewed that I've rated that low. So yeah, I don't think anybody really should look towards buying this keyboard for any utility whatsoever. It has questionable specifications on the key switches. It's a giant, like, it's a monstrosity to have on your desk. It destroys any kind of space you have on your desk for like a lot of other stuff. The pulsating logo can't even be turned off. Gosh, like, I've ranted too much. Sorry, you guys. I've occupied your time. I could have condensed the last 5 minutes ranting into being like, no go. But thank you guys so much for watching. My name is David, and I will see you next video. Like, I can't find a practical use of, a really quick gaming command for G6. Like, not even G1. Like, I can't even. Like, I can't even. I'm so mad that I probably could even, but I can't even right now. Hey, what's going on, YouTube? Welcome to my review of the Lenovo. Damn it, Leroy. Dog just shook off his collar. No, he's looking at me quizzically with his head tilted because he's listening intently on what I'm saying. Thank you so much for... Look, there you go. Now he's scratching.